actually looking forward to. This is going to be Saturday on the Zone, June the 7th here in the States, and I'm pretty sure over in Australia, you guys are going to be able to watch it on the Zone as well. Fabio Wardley's taking on Justice Huni. Justice Huni, fringe. Really, he just left the prospect about, tag about a few fights ago. And now he's been a fringe contender because he's been in and out of the sanctioning bodies. But in reality, he's on the lower end, despite how skilled he is. But there's issues. We're going to talk about it. 12-0 with 7 KOs, 26-0 from Australia. And Fabio Wardley 18-0-1 with 17 KOs. That only one was against Frazer Clark, who he brutally knocked out in the very first round of their next fight, which was his next fight back in October of last year. Fabio Wardley is, as I was talking about when we was talking about Opetaia, he's kind of in that new blood of the heavyweights, more of, even though he's 30, but remember, as I said previously, in the heavyweight division, 30 is considered a baby in the heavyweight division in this era that we're in. So, and for example, Usyk is almost 40 years old. I believe he's 38, if not 37, but or around that age. So when you look at what Fabio Wardley is right now, this is going to be for the WBA interim title. It was supposed to be Gerald Big Baby Miller. Gerald Big Baby Miller pulled out a few weeks ago for the reason still haven't been disclosed. But for those who don't know, he was in a bitter battle with his former promoter, Dimitri Salita. So something is telling me in my gut, especially if there's no injury involved, that it's something to do with that. His new manager is now, a handler is Spencer Brown, who's really good. Got guys like Tyson Fury and everything. So, he withdrew from the fight under shady circumstances. The problem I have with Justice Huni is Fabio Wardley, as you can see by his resume, is a cracker. 18-0, 17 KOs. I've seen it. Let me see. When did I start coming in covering Justice Huni? I came in around I came in at 2021. That was that Dylan White card, I believe, where Dylan White got knocked up. Was that when he got knocked up at Perfection? Let me check. Yeah, I came in around that time. Well, anyway, I've been watching all of these fights. And, the skill that's there. But also for him, the Frazer Clark fight was what they call in the UK a domestic level. The UK, they often have a how can I say, a template of what their fighters. You get to the Commonwealth, you get the British boxing border control belt, and then that's supposed to be you going up to world level. So you've seen plenty times throughout history where you had guys like, I don't know, Billy Joe Saunders, Chris Eubank Jr. They have a system there where you got to fight the rival in your division before you go up. Before you go to like the world level. Fights like Rocky Fielding and Colin Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, and Chris Eubank Jr. And that was the same thing with Frazer Clark. That was like, all right, that's your rival. Before you go, onto the world class, you got to beat the rival in your division in your country. And now he's going to be fighting Justice Huni, but even though, as I can say, looking at, the resume of Fabio Wardley, don't get me wrong, it's nice for the fringe contender, prospect fringe contender that he was, and now he's a contender with wins over Nathan Gorman, David Adelaide, 2 over Frazer Clark. Those were his rivals. So he eliminated his rivals on a domestic level, all of them. But I just don't really see yet if I can see him as being a guy to go up to beat, I don't know, Daniel Dubois, Usyk, Joseph Parker, I don't know, Anthony Joshua. I'm gonna leave him out right now. There's a big question mark around him. Guys like Moses Atama. I'm not, and I'm rating Moses Atama kind of high, but what I'm saying is I'm kind of looking at Wardley of being on that same level as well. It's a lot of question marks. But Big J, before I let me stop rambling on. What do you think about the Huni Wardley fight? I'm concerned about Huni's power. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, well, we've said this before that Justice Huni is a volume puncher, pressure fighter, great footwork, has the hands and then the footwork speed of a lightweight, but also has the power of one too.
Yeah.
And I've spoken to many of my Australian mates, constituents that there's a lot of people out there that aren't worried about the fact that Justice has no power because he's so his boxing IQ is high and he's so fast and he's a volume puncher. He's one of those guys that will wear you down over time rather than just, knock you out. But having said that, my concern is if Wardley lands one on him and hits him hard, Justice ain't getting back up because he's been rocked twice by two blown up cruiserweights.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always said the second he gets in there with a heavyweight that can hit, I think he's going to get his lights turned off. So,
yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, how much punch resistance does he have? Because he's certainly got the better skill set and ring IQ over Fabio Wardley. But if Wardley gets close enough to him and hits him one, if he gets into a dogfight with Wardley will knock him out.
Yeah.
So he needs to use his foot. He needs to use his ring IQ, his hand speed, and his footwork to stay away from him and, win a points decision or wear him down over the course of the 12 rounds. So,
and one thing we can say about Huni is he has several 10-round where he went actually the distance on his resume to where before that draw against Fraser Clark, Fabio Wardley never went past 6 rounds. And that was very early in his career. So, he has one 12-round fight to where Huni has, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even though against lower level competition like Paul Gallen, Joseph Goodall, what's the guy named Kiki Toy Lutile, or, Andrew Tabiti, so we know he can go the distance, but, what fight was it where he seemed to start slowing down and leaning on the ropes in the second half of the fight? I don't remember. Was that Lorena fight?
Yeah, it definitely was the Lorena fight. He was in trouble in that fight. And the other blown up cruiserweight that he fought, didn't look too flash in that fight either.
Yeah, so if he doesn't have the power to keep Fabio Wardley, who is, Fabio Wardley's got some accuracy with him. He places his punches very well. And you saying you're having some issues makes some concerns if Huni will be able to take those shots. I as I'm looking at it, Huni would have to fight and box the best fight of his life. The type of fight where he's using the jab and it's like, people are going to be, how after a fighter gets an upset or comes out of nowhere and gets a win, everybody say, oh, he looks like the next, Sugar Ray Leonard or whatever, some old type of bullshit. Like he needs to have one of those type of nights where he's trending to where people start saying dumb shit on social media. He's got to look phenomenal because I'm trying to find a way, can he neutralize Fabio Wardley and keep Fabio Wardley off of him? And the only way he can do that, he's got to have a special night. And he is a late step in, so he hasn't had even a full camp for this.
I agree. So he was training for someone else.
Mm.
But yeah, he needed to step in.
Yeah, well, we're going to be here covering that card. That's also going to be on the Zone. So you have 2 significant Australian boxing events on the Zone.